Hello everyone, welcome to my CMake workshop. So today I'm going to be going over how to use CMake because I think this would be nice that you guys, like since it's the end of the semester, that you guys are going to be on this will give you guys an opportunity to like practice more C++. And so I'm going to be showing you guys how to use CMake with SFML and I'm going to be showing you guys how to link those. And so yeah, and so let's get started. Okay, so in CMake, there's like a few functions that we'll point out. Is that like you have the project, and all this does is basically create a rule. And so in this rule, we basically create a child CMake that this is a function, this is the project name, and these two functions just kind of give it the version and just tell it what the project name is. And so that's what these two functions are for. And so, that being said, everything in CMake is like a function. And so like, for example, like for those of, since like if you use makefile, you know that you do main.cpp dash b plus plus 20, and then you could do so forth, right? Well, in CMake, there's a good thing that you could do is that it's called set functions. And what these do is they do exactly the same thing as what you do with um with makefiles. And so on Windows, what I'm going to show is basically how this would initially work. And so, for example, like when we add this basically is doing the same thing as if we did those compile flags. And so another thing is that like, oh, this is commented out, is that like basically when we have these, right? What they're doing is they're basically saying, they're basically like different ways you could set variables. That being said, like another thing that I would like to consider is that like when you like ever use CMake, it's kind of like it's one of those things that you'll notice is that like it's smarter than makefiles because it generates the makefile for you. So all you have to do is like tell it, hey, where do you want to link this library, and then you just tell it, and then it'll work. And so CMake are a good way to basically link third-party libraries that require CMake. And because you don't want to do it with makefiles because that can get complicated real quick. And so like what this does is just and also here's also another thing. When you create a add executable, you would think that you're used to doing you're used to doing like something like this, right? Well, in this case, it won't work because CMake they generate based off your executable. They generate based off your executable. So whatever your project name, in this case, I put commando, then it'll generate that for you. And so like I'll show you how to do it. So like if you did test.cpp or in this case commando, right? We can run it and this is what we get. And so this is pretty much this is pretty much how you would execute any of your executables when you use CMake. And today I'm also going to be showing you how you guys can link SFML and Google Test because you guys are already learning Google Test, and so this will be a good way to showcase that. So in this workshop, I'm also going to be going over a little bit things that might be a little bit too advanced, but I'll try to simplify as much as I can. That being said, if you want to if you want to like do Google tests, for example, or if you want or let's start with SFML, then you basically give it a file path, and this is where you kind of have to install it correctly. It's where you install SFML, and then you like in this case I installed it in documents, and then I put it in a folder called cpp libs, where I downloaded SFML and I just copy and paste it in there. And then when you copy and paste it in there, what that does is it basically sets, okay, well, this is where SFML is located, this is where it's at. And once you tell it that, then it'll know where that's located, and where that's being used is that's being used over here, where we're linking it. And so when you link SFML, and so how you link SFML is through target link libraries. Now, target link libraries is actually equivalent to doing like you see here, like you're pretty used, like I'm pretty sure you guys have already seen GTest. Well, in this case, target link libraries is equivalent to doing -l gtest. And so that's also another thing about that, is that CMake is everything's kind of like set in a function. So when you want to link, you just call it target link libraries. But whenever you want to link a library, like in this case we're doing gtest, you give it a project name, and then you set that to what library you want to link. And in this case, we're doing gtest. And so once we link that, then it knows that, hey, okay, I know you want this library, and you've linked it. Now the compiler knows where to find the gtest framework. And same thing goes with SFML. SFML basically is a little bit different because there's a lot of components to it, but it's the same thing. You basically tell it, hey, I want you to find this package, which is the library. And it uses this to find a way to say, okay, include all of these stuffs, and then let's link it. So there's 3 steps to it, essentially. You could either set it to be a variable, the file path of where you install the library, and then you define package. And then once you define package, then you automatically link that. It goes in 3 simple steps. Like, so if we execute commando, we get a window. Now this is what our window looks like. And so this is pretty much what it would be like to do CMake with SFML and Google Test. And the reason why I do show you guys this is because I want you guys to be able to like have an opening to like other new like things to be able to like improve, so that when you use C++, it becomes more of a practice sort of thing rather than a study. Because the more practice you learn, the better you really get. And so hence why I'm showing just GTest and SFML, because I think SFML is a great way of practicing your C++ skills, especially if you guys are taking 26 is Kearney. And so yeah, and so that's that. And so yeah, that's why I'm kind of showing this now, and it maybe seem a little bit too advanced, but it's one of those things where it takes practice to really get the hang of it. And so in general, just this is pretty much what CMake does, is basically everything's a function, and you have like in this case you have like find package, and then you have the add executable, and then you have like and then you have target link libraries. And honestly, these are pretty much the only functions you really need to know for CMake, just because anything beyond this, if I was to go over it, you guys would probably get a lot confused, which I don't want that. So this is so that's kind of like the main learning point is like CMake is a smart script. Set, it's just like a function that just sets, like you give it a variable and you set it to whatever you want it to be. Like if you see here, you're setting flags and debug and release to different compiler flags. That's pretty much all what that's doing. And so, and same thing with this. This is setting a variable called sfmotor to the directory. And so this is kind of like how that works. And so yeah, this is how you link SFML, and this is how you link GTest. And if you use SFML and GTest, this is pretty much what this would look like essentially. and when you link them together. And so yeah guys, thank you for coming to my workshop, and I'll see you guys later.